Okay, so we are taking a look today and having a discussion for related to Jeffrey Epstein again. That's a hot topic of conversation, and I totally understand why. Because I actually think Jeffrey Epstein could be the name of a mutual fund or a stock fund of some sort or a company, a fictitious name. And so they keep mentioning the name Ghislaine Maxwell, and they're saying that she's in prison in federal custody. And so they're trying to call her out, and so what they've said that this whole story should be put to rest, or that's what Legacy Media is saying. One station anyway, they're saying that the whole thing should be put to rest because Donald wants it put to rest, and he said Ghislaine. Now they're calling her Ghislaine, not Ghislaine, but Ghislaine Maxwell. And so there's more to the story, and what they're talking about is that Donald is saying now that Jeffrey was stealing employees from him. They are also wording it that Jeffrey was stealing women from Donald. So I'm not sure what it is, if Jeffrey was actually stealing women from Donald or if it was employees. But there's been two stories. And so what they're saying is that Donald has been changing his story consistently. And they're saying that, basically it's surrounding that some people they're claiming that he poached employees. That's what they're calling it, is that Jeffrey poached employees from Donald. And so there's new information that Donald is putting out all the time, and so Donald is the key source to all of this. I actually think that Jeffrey Epstein is the name of a fund. And so I just do. I think Jeffrey Epstein is the name of some kind of a mutual fund or stock holdings company or something, or some type of holdings company. And so they're just playing around and toying around with the names of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And so now they're calling her Ghislaine now, not Ghislaine, but Ghislaine. I was calling her Ghislaine, but they've changed her name. I think they were calling her Ghislaine, and I had said Ghislaine, and now they're calling her Ghislaine. But I think that, and so what they're claiming, Donald is claiming that Jeffrey stole women and stole employees, poached employees from him. That's what's taking place. He poached employees. Jeffrey poached employees from Donald. Basically, he stole employees. Donald has also said Jeffrey stole women from him. So he's used two statements, is what I've heard today. Two statements. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add and say about this? If you'd like to, please do so in the comment section, and also subscribe if you're new to my channel. And so I mean, this thing gets more bizarre as time passes, but I actually think that Jeffrey Epstein is the name of some type of holdings company or something like that, a holdings company, and Ghislaine Maxwell could be a holding company name as well. It would be like, I go back to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So we know that they're not real people. They're student loans and home loan mortgages companies is what they are. So if we were to believe that Warren Buffett is a real person, and so they've taken a face and a voice and put it on a mutual fund company, which Warren Buffett, I kind of sometimes think that he's not a real person. It's the name of a holdings company. And so I think that about Jeffrey Epstein is that, because they said Donald actually used the name David Dennison to sign for something related to a book deal, which is kind of interesting. You think about it. So he was signing off on some kind of book deal, and Donald used the name David Dennison. That's the name he signed, was David Dennison, instead of his real name. And so that's why I'm thinking that this thing related to Epstein Island, I think Donald Trump owned the island. I just do, because it went from $7 million back in the mid 1980s, and it went up to $63 million at the time of Jeffrey Epstein's death in 2019. And so there's something really, really suspicious about the Jeffrey Epstein, everything that's going on with that. And so I'm not sure that I have much more to add at this point, but what I will add, we don't have much of a discussion taking place either. So what I will add is the parts where they've added on now that Jeffrey was poaching employees off of Donald. He was poaching employees off of Donald. Jeffrey was stealing women off of Donald. I've heard both of those stories today told. Both stories of how Jeffrey stole women from Donald, and he stole employees and poached employees. And so this thing gets more and more strange as time passes. But okay, I think that's all I have to say right now, and I will chime in a little bit later. If you guys give me an idea of something you want to hear about, or some other topic, I can chime in a little bit later. And so we'll see you guys a little bit later.